All right. So hopefully going over these four will help with, I know some of those factoring ones were a little different than what I showed you yesterday because A had a number besides one in front, right? And I didn't show you one of those. So down here I can show you that. All right, so for number one, it says find it by graphing. So what did I tell you to do? Put in your calculator, right? So you go your y equals, and what was it? X squared minus 7x, right? So here's x, right there under mode, next to alpha, next to stats there, and squared, and then minus 7x, enter, and then hit graph. Anybody having trouble not being able to see their graph? Cole, you are? Okay. Hit second y equals. Does it say you have a plot on? All right, go to number 4 and say plot off. Hit enter twice. Okay, now hit zoom. 6. Enter. There you go. You're welcome. Anybody else having trouble not being able to see their graph? Sometimes, for some reason, you get the stat plots turned on, and then it won't show your graph for you. And what you got to do is turn your plots off. So hit second y equals, and number 4, which turns the plots off, then hit enter twice. Or once, I think. It says done. And then you should hit zoom, which is the very top row in the middle, 6, enter. Oh, you didn't have to hit enter, I guess.
Wait, the fourth one?
The fourth one, what do you mean?
Last off.
Yeah. And then hit enter once or twice till it says done.
Yeah.
Then hit zoom at that top row, the middle, 6. And that'll get you to this screen, this basic XY axis screen. Anybody else having issues? Cole, yours working out?
No.
Okay. So zoom 6. Well, we didn't put it in. You have y. You got some y equals some numbers in there. You got all kinds of going on. What do you got going on?
I don't know. I got it from a teacher at Jackson High School.
Wow, awesome story.
That was nice of them.
Yeah.
Your mom's a
Okay,
John.
so
That's
hey, let's go. Focus up here. What am I looking at now to find the answer? The x-intercepts, right? Where the parabola crosses the x-axis. Okay? So that looks like 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks like 7. Okay? How can I tell for sure? Go to the table. How do I get to the table? Second graph. Okay? So I'm looking for where there's a 0 in the y column. But the answer is the x value. You with me? So there's a 0 in the y. What's the x value? 0, which we could see on the graph, right? And we were thinking 6 or 7, right? So we just go down arrow key till we get, and we see the 7 is the other 0. Okay? Let's do it by graphing. Your calculator basically does it for you, right? If you want, here's another way to find the 0. Sometimes you won't be able to see it in the table. You're going to have to do it this way. Right next to graph, it says what?
Trace.
Trace. What's it say above trace? Calc, right? So hit second trace for calc. And we're looking for a what again? 0. So which one's up there? 0. Or 2. Okay? You go to 2. All right? And when it says left bound, it wants you to be left of the point you're looking for. Okay? So I gotta make sure I'm left. Right now, I'm right on it. So to go left, I gotta go up a little bit. So I hit my left arrow key and then it goes up. So I'm left of the point. So you can hit enter. Then it says right bound. That means you gotta get right of the point. So that means I gotta get below it. Okay? So now I'm below it, I hit enter. And then it'll say guess. That's when you hit enter and it'll give you that 0, 0. Okay, but you knew that anyway, right? If we want to find this one, you get second trace again, number 2. And I always try to get close. Now, so I move close to that other side. So I hit the right arrow key and it just kind of moves. And I'm looking for the cursor to show up. There it is. Okay, you guys can hold it down if you want, so you see it. Am I left of the point I'm looking for?
No.
Remember, it's going like this. I'm left of it, aren't I? Yeah, so it depends where you're at. Sometimes above it's left, like over here. Sometimes below it is left. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So I hit enter, and then right bound. So I hit the right arrow key till I get above it. And well, why it's asking that, it knows there's more than 1 0, so you're telling where to look. You're telling the calculator where to look. So you're looking at boundaries for it. So it's going to look in between those boundaries. Right? So I hit enter, and then for guess I hit enter, and then you see the 7 0. Okay? So you need to do that if it's like a 2.5 or something, or a 3/4. Because it won't show up in your table, because your table's going by ones, right? So that's the other way to do it. Second trace, number 2, and then put your cursor on each end of the point you're looking for, and then it'll find it for you. Okay? All right, so go ahead and do this one real quick in your calculator. See if you get the right answer. You should see 4 and 5 after you graph it.
Square minus 9.
Thought you were going to get one.
I don't know how to use it.
It's because you never have it in your hand when we go over it. You have one in here? Grant, is yours working?
Not the answer.
No. Oh, does that graph?
Yeah, it's not, like, I don't know how to put in the point. It's like these graphs or.
We gotta put the equation in. X squared minus 9x plus 20. So where, you have a y equals button? Well, you're not even trying. You gotta figure that out on other time. Or Google. Well, then maybe there's one. Take a while. We could figure it out. Grant.
Hey, that's everybody. John's like, you can't use it.
X to the Y equals how I get over.
Mr. Miller, have any instructions?
Because if you use the arrow, it just,
Did you do that?
Yes, sir.
like,
So it's just moving it around, huh?
yeah, that's what I try to do. I have to run and put it back on the back.
What's the answer? 4, 5? You did get 4, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody have issues?
We're learning.
I am,
Why?
I don't know how to, like, what put in.
X squared minus 9x plus 20. Right there.
Where is it?
Right there.
X,
Hit the squared button.
Wait, let's do math now.
Yeah.
How do I get the second point? 'Cause like I got on a table and like it shows 4 and 5, but they're both in. Is it supposed to be in the X column?
The zeros will be in the Y, and then it should be a 4. You should see 4, 5, and 0, 0. Next.
Okay, so like they should both come up in the X column, not the Y.
The zeros come up in the Y, and then the numbers across them will go in the X. Hey, focus. I'm trying to help you guys out here. See the 4 and the 5? What's next to them? Zeros. That's where you look for the zeros, in the Y column. But the answer is the X value.
how'd you get there again?
Second graph. Let's focus, not screw around. Not be on our phones. Question. Cola, I'm gonna bust you upside the head. You hear me? I'm serious. Let's get focused. All right, so that's graphing. The calculator does all the work for you. All right, you're supposed to have that by now. I told you way back in the beginning, right? And I told you if you had issues with that, you should have seen me beforehand, before it's too late. That we're wasting time showing you stuff that we should be able to do. All right, this one. Is there a GCF? We're supposed to factor it. No, there is no GCF. Is it a difference of squares? No. How many terms in a difference of squares? 2. Is it a sum or difference of cubes? No. How many terms? 2 on that. Is it a special trinomial? Ah, it is. Are these both positive perfect squares? Yeah, they are, right? So, what's the square root of x squared? X. What's the square root of 25? Multiply those, what do you get? If that answer is half of that, which it is, it's one of those special trinomials, okay? And the way you can factor it then is this. You make one set of parentheses, and in the front is that first number you got, which was what again? Yeah, but how did I get it? I square rooted, right? This sign, what's in front of the 10? And then what's in the back of this binomial is this number, the square root of the 25. And then you square it. Okay, if you don't realize that, it's okay. What are the factors of 25 positive that add up to negative 10? Negative 5 and a negative 5, right? Which is 2 of those, right? So if you wrote x minus 5 times x minus 5, you did the same thing. Okay? So it's okay if you miss that it's one of those special ones. Okay? What do they want? What do you guys want? All right.
One time, I pinned Coach Mattingly. You guys know, he's a wrestling coach. I used to beat him up in high school.
You did. See how he runs away though, after he beat me up?
Don't mess with Mattingly.
Okay, so once we have it factored, what are we supposed to do with our factors?
Make like two separate things.
Yeah, set them equal to
Zero.
0, right? Do I have to do 2 of them?
Yeah.
Well, usually, but for this one?
No.
No. This one I don't. There's only one answer. What is it? 5. Okay? So when I graph it, over here at 5, does it open up or down? Up. Why? What's positive? The A term, which is what number? 1. Oh my goodness.
I was like, here it is.
You were here Friday, that's when we talked about that. It's gonna look like that. It's gonna hit just right there. Okay? Only 1, 0. That happens sometimes, that's okay. All right, number 4. Focus. Oh, here it is. Cool. You got it done already. All right, so if A is bigger than 1, which this case it's a 2, right? You need to multiply 2 times negative 15, which is negative 30. And then you look for factors of that number that add up to 7, which is what 2 numbers?
And then negative 3.
Yeah. Now here's what's different. You rewrite the problem. You rewrite this 7x as 10x minus 3x in the middle. The 2x squared doesn't change, the negative 15 doesn't change. You rewrite 7 with these 2 numbers. And since it's x, it's 10x and 3x. If this was a y, it'd be 10y and 3y. Okay? But if that's a y, then that's a y squared. That's all. You with me so far? So, you had a couple problems yesterday that had like a 2 there, or a 3 there, or maybe something even bigger, right? And I did show you this yesterday, but you did this anyway, a couple years ago.
I don't understand why I have the 2x squared and the 3x below the 2x squared plus 10x minus the negative 3x.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen again, all right? I'll say it again. Multiply 2 times negative 15 to get what? Negative 30. You're looking for factors of negative 30 like you did yesterday for C that add up to the B. All right, so 10 times negative 3 is negative 30, but 10 plus negative 3 is positive 7, the B. All right, you rewrite the problem using these 2 numbers in the middle. So that's where they come from. 10x minus 3x equals 7x. So I rewrote it with 4 terms, which was number 6 on our list, called grouping. And what you do is you group the first 2 and the back 2. Okay? If this third term is minus, like this one is, put it inside the group. If it's addition there, you don't have to put the plus sign in the group. Okay? Well, I just put a plus between the 2 now. So this problem is, again, 2x squared plus 10x plus negative 3x minus 15. It's the same problem, just written differently. Now, when I group, I take GCFs out. What's the GCF between those 2? 2x. 2 and x, right? 2x squared divided by 2x gives me that x. 10x divided by 2x gives me that 5. Okay? If there's a minus or a negative sign there, always pull out the negative sign. And then 3 goes into 3x and 15, right? So that's where the minus 3 came, because that was minus. It doesn't matter what that is. If that's minus, minus sign comes up. Okay? Negative 3x divided by negative 3 is positive x. Negative 15 divided by negative 3 is positive 5. So what do you see in the parentheses?
X plus 5.
Right, the same thing. It's got to be the same thing to go on. If it's not, check your work. You probably did something wrong. Okay? But once you do that, that's one of my factors. My other factor is the GCFs you pulled out of it. Then you set them equal to 0 and solve for x. So my two answers are negative 5 and positive 3/2. Questions? Okay. So, number 8 is where we started, wasn't it? No, 2 to 10, wasn't it? Number 2, x equals 2. I'm looking at the wrong one. That was the other day. We're on 338 now, aren't we? Number 2 is negative 5 and positive 1. You just graph it. Look at your table. Number 4 is negative 1 and positive 1. Same thing, use your calculator. Number 5, it factors into x minus 1 and x minus 6. So our I'm sorry, why am I doing 5? 6. That has to multiply 2 times 2, all right? I think I have 6 somewhere. Maybe I don't. All right, so number 6, I'll do real quick. Oh, I know where it is. I knew I saw it earlier today. Where'd it go? It must not be on there anymore. I must have got rid of it. No. I guess I did. Sorry. So it was 2x squared. I'll do it real quick for you. And I lost my spot. Minus 5x plus 2. Is supposed to set it equal to 0. What's 2 times 2? 4. What are the factors of positive 4 that add up to negative 5? Negative 1 times negative 4, right? They multiply, give me positive 4. They add to give me negative 5. So I rewrite this. 2x squared. Instead of minus 5x, I go minus 1x minus 4x. All right? Same problem. I just made negative 5x into those two. Now I do what? What do I call it? Grouping. See the negative? Inside the group. Just put a plus sign between them now. What do I look for now? GCF. What goes into both of those? 1x, right? What's 2x squared divided by 1x? 2x. What's negative 1x divided by 1x? Negative 1. There's a negative there. Pull it out. What goes into those two? 2. What's negative 4x divided by negative 2? Positive 2x. What's 2 divided by negative 2? Negative 1. Are they the same? They are, aren't they? So what's the two factors? Pull Zito. Right. Any questions? This? These are the same, so that's one of them. And then these two are the other one. Olivia?
I just don't know how you knew like the negative 1x went up there and like the negative 4x went there. Like, do those just group next to each other? 'Cause like I know how you got them, like the negative 4 and the negative 1. But, like I don't know how you group things like that.
Well, I wrote that as these two. But if you want to put -4 there and -1 there, that's okay. Is that your question? Yeah. What order you put them in doesn't matter. You'll group them and it'll still work out.
Why'd you put -2 in the middle again? How'd you do
All right, I
that?
pulled this negative, since there's a negative there, that's that. And then I looked at these two terms, what do they have in common is a 2. The GCF of 2.
Why is it-
Now here, these both had an X in them. I pulled the X out. Anything else? Those are all good questions. Okay, then what do I do with these two? Set them equal to 0. And finish up. So X is 2 here. This thing is a mess right now. And 1. And divide by 2. What's 1 divided by 2? Half. So 2 and 1/2 are the two answers. Okay? That was number 6. Number 8 is x plus 5 and x plus 4 when you graph it. So you get -5 and -4 for your answer. Number 10, you got 3x plus 1 and x plus 4 is your two factors. So you get -4 and -1/3. And then we jump up to 18, right? Use graphing for number 18, you get 1 and 3. For 20, you use graphing, you get 3 and -3. Again, calculator. 22, you get 2x plus 5 and x minus 2 when you graph or factor it, which gives you -5/2 and a +2. For 24, it's x minus 6 times x minus 9, so you get +6 and +9 for your zeros. For 26, there's a 2 that goes into all of those, GCF, so pull it out, and you get x squared minus 6x plus 9, which gives you an x minus 3 times an x minus 3, or it's actually one of those, special ones, so x minus 3 squared. So the only answer is 3 for 26. Is that where we stopped, right? Okay. Questions? Paul, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Okay. So, a couple other ways to factor that we didn't get to yesterday. Let me get to find the spot. All right, so here we're at. All right, quadratic expressions that have 1, 2, or 3 terms, such as those 3. Quadratic expressions with 2 terms, we know are binomials, 3 terms of trinomials. All right, the difference of squares. If you got 2 perfect squares and a minus between them, you just take square root. Square root of a squared is a, that goes in the front of both. Square root of b squared is b, that goes in the back of both. One's addition, one's subtraction. Okay? This is like one of those special ones. The square root of that is a, the square root of that's b. What's a times b? AB. Is that half of 2AB? Yeah. So that's why you could say the square root of that A, that sign minus the square root of B, and square it. Again, if you don't realize it's one of those, it's okay. Just do it like you did the normal trinomial. It'll still work. You'll just have 2 of the same thing. All right? So what do I got to do first? No, get it equal to what? 0. Is there a GCF? No. Is it a difference of perfect squares? Yes. What's the square root of 4x squared? 2x. Front of both. What's the square root of 25? 5. Back of both. Then what? Plus and minus. Very good. And then what do I do with my 2 factors? Set them equal to 0 and solve them, right? Okay? I'm not going to finish that. You guys know what to do from there, right? What do I got to do with this one? Set it equal to 0. What do I got to do what with that negative for? Add it over. Are those both positive perfect squares? Yes, what's the square root of that? X, square root of that. Multiply them. Is that half of that? Yeah, so I can go that one, that sign, that one, and square it. What's my answer? X equals 2. Does it equal, it is equal to 0, just add 2, right? Another difference of squares, right? If you know the zeros, you can work backwards. Okay? So, you start these always like this. X minus. Always start them like that. Go backwards. X what? Minus. Then you put a 4 there. You put a negative 7 there. What happens on this one? Becomes addition. First, outside, inside, last, combine like terms. Man, who's on the fritz? There's your polynomial that goes with that problem. That's working backwards. Always start how? X minus. Then FOIL. You guys know how to FOIL, right? You got it. So, what do I do?
X minus.
5.
X minus negative 5.
Negative 5 makes it plus 5, right?
Yeah.
First, outside, inside, last. What happens in the middle?
They cancel each other out.
Right. So it's one of those difference of squares problems. That's pretty easy, isn't it? Going backward?
Can you leave it like that?
Yeah, you just leave it like that. All right? Okay? Wagner, you got a question? Good. There you go. Yes, ma'am.
You don't want to do my homework tonight. And I resubmitted it because I want to prove it.
Are you sure, sir?
Yes.
2.